of the women and children and men over there. The Muslims witnessing the conquest of Genghis Khan, they swore by Allah, this has to be Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And Qiyamah is going to come right now. We're just waiting for Isa to come and Dajjal to come, because Genghis Khan is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And all of the ahadith about Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they applied it to Genghis Khan. And perhaps if we were alive back then, we too would have been certain we are seeing Ya'juj and Ma'juj. What else are you going to think? وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. You're going to be coming from everywhere and doing all of this. They look like Ya'juj and Ma'juj, the descriptions are there. But it turns out they weren't Ya'juj and Ma'juj. So from this we learn, never ever ever take a cryptic hadith and then be certain. Go ahead and say, perhaps. So I just said today that the Prophet predicted barefoot shepherds competing with one another. Now, in our times, we see this happening. What if a generation later, an even more explicit example happens? Because right now, the people competing, their fathers were barefoot shepherds. The actual 3 or 4 princes were born in the lap of luxury. So, it's nothing wrong to apply this hadith here, and that's why I said it looks like it's happening. But how do we know? Maybe next generation, literally something will happen and you will have barefoot shepherds doing this. Then that generation will say, aha, look, this hadith is now applicable. So go ahead and give an ijtihad if the scholars have done it. You can quote Ibn Hajar, you can quote, go ahead. But always say Allah knows best. And leave cryptic hadith as they are, and Allah knows what the future will hold, inshallah. Okay? Sisters, a question. Yes, go ahead, sisters, go ahead. Ya'juj and Ma'juj in the timeline we will do inshallah in a few weeks, they are after Dajjal, and they are before the trumpet is blown, when Isa and his followers are still around. So Ya'juj and Ma'juj will come at a time frame when Dajjal has been killed. There shall be peace in the world. Remember I said last Tuesday or last Wednesday that the sine wave is going to go higher and lower and higher and lower. It's going to be the best of times. I'm quoting Charles Dickens here. It's the best of times, the worst of times. They're going to go up and down. So at that time frame, Ya'juj and Ma'juj will come after one of the highs, where Isa is in charge, the world is at peace. Then will be one of the lowest of lows, and that is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Then there will be yet another high, and then the believers will be taken away. So we'll mention this story inshallah in 4 to 5 weeks, because we're going to do Dajjal and others. Ya'juj and Ma'juj will come towards even after that. Back to the brothers. Bismillah, go ahead. This is Ya'juj and Ma'juj. We will mention Dhul Qarnayn. But Dhul Qarnayn is not one of the signs of Judgment Day. Our brother wants to put Dhul Qarnayn with the Eskimos. And Allah knows best where Dhul Qarnayn went. We do not know. Allah knows best. And the hadith do not mention. And I'll talk about Dhul Qarnayn. Dhul Qarnayn is a past figure who plays a role for Ya'juj and Ma'juj. Something happened in the past that will play a role for Ya'juj and Ma'juj. We'll talk about that inshallah in a few weeks. Back to the sisters. Yes, go ahead. So our sister asks, what is the narrative of Christians in their belief of Jesus coming? First, they realize one segment of Christians, typically Baptists and certain strands of evangelicals. These are the ones that are embracing the second coming of Jesus. And that is why you will find a group called Christian Zionists. There are Christians who are the most ardent supporters of Zionism, because they believe that when the children of Israel are all gathered in the Holy Land, that is a necessary precursor for the coming of Jesus Christ. And that is why some of the most ardent Zionists of this country are not Jewish people. They are people of a Christian background. Our current guy in the office, he is flirting with Christian Zionists because he wants their support. He wants to get them to support him because of his policy. So their version of events is that, and again there are multiple interpretations, their version of events is that when Jesus will come, those who truly believed in him will magically disappear and be transported to heaven with him. Okay? And the wretched will be left on earth. So they have this notion of Jesus coming back, gathering his followers, and with his followers magically being transported to heaven. So they're just going to disappear and go into heaven. So there's a series, a very prominent series, Left Behind. Okay, it's one of the most popular readings amongst the evangelical community. The youth, the housewives, they love it. It is national bestsellers. Why? What's it about? Those that are left behind. Those that didn't make it to Jesus' cut because they weren't Christian enough. So the goal is you better be Christian enough so you're not left behind. And of course they do believe in the Armageddon. They do believe in a massive war between good and evil, and in the end Jesus is going to win. Now, by the way, this leads me to an interesting point. A lot of times these people, they say, oh look, your hadith mentioned war and bloodshed and Armageddon. You look at the violence and whatnot. And the response is very clear. We say to them, this is going to be a war between Jesus and the Antichrist. If you want to choose to be on the side of the Antichrist, that's your business. But we're going to choose the side of Jesus. And this is the irony. We believe that Isa ibn Maryam will be our leader. When Isa comes back, he will be our leader, not theirs. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَإِن مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا لَيُؤْمِنَنَّ بِهِ قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ. Not a single person of Ahl Kitab will be there except that he shall believe in Jesus before Jesus dies. Meaning, when Isa comes back, every Ahl Kitab that had even an atom's weight of Iman will become a Muslim at that time, and only those who had no Iman will choose Dajjal over Isa. And then do you blame us if the ahadith happen and the bloodshed happens? Don't look at us after that, inshallah. Back to the brothers. Yes, go ahead with this. Very good question. Question is about, are there ahadith about Ghazwat Hind, conquering India? Yes, there are a number of traditions, about 3 to be more precise, about the notion of Muslims will conquer India, and those that conquer India will be of the greatest armies, etc., etc. However, all of them are slightly weak. One of them is slightly weak, one of them is da'if jiddan. And so that is why I did not put it in my lecture here. They do exist. And if you attended the lecture yesterday, I talked about da'if hadith. And we said that da'if hadith can be used for what, guys? Who remembers? For encouraging. But they cannot be used for legal matters or theological matters. And belief in Judgment Day is theology. So we cannot be certain. But I don't have any problem quoting them if we had a longer lecture and simply pointing out that in some ahadith, Ghazwat Hind is predicted, and the Prophet praised the army that will attack Hind. But these ahadith have a slight weakness in them, so we cannot be certain that the Prophet said them, but we hope he said them. And especially for our Muslim brothers in India, they need some help, so we hope that inshallah those are true. Final question from the sisters, yes. 2 back, okay, quickly, one after the other, quickly. So both of these wordings indicate a prophecy. The fact that something's happening in the future, the fact that Day of Judgment will not happen until this happens. So regardless, they're both signs of Judgment Day, because he's prophesizing they're going to happen in the future. They're neutral. Signs are neutral. They're going to happen. Sister behind you, go ahead. So this is a very good question. Inshallah, we'll discuss it maybe in an open Q&A, because this is not related directly to signs of Judgment Day. And by the way, I have a clip on YouTube. The sister asked, how do we explain Muslim conquests around the world? What if somebody says to us, our religion went and conquered all of these lands and there was no threat from these lands? Why did you guys conquer the world? I actually have, I think, a 15-20 minute YouTube clip from my seerah. Somebody took it out in there. You know, my problem is I don't know what the titles are. But Google it, just YouTube it, explaining Muslim conquests. I think Muslim conquests. Yeah, Muslim conquests. Just try Muslim conquests on YouTube. Final question from the brothers. There's 2 minutes left. Yes, go ahead. The brother asks, the coming of Isa, is it before the Tawbah door closed or after the door of Tawbah? No, it is before. It is before. Why? Because, believe it or not, lots of people will see Isa and Dajjal and choose Dajjal over Isa. Why? Because they don't believe in the hadith in the first place. They're not going to believe in the hadith. Even when they see Dajjal, they're not going to believe in the hadith. So those who believe in the Quran and believe in the Sunnah, they will choose Isa over Dajjal.